Welcome back, my fellow degenerates. We are here once again following an electric week 2 of the NFL. Unfortunately for us, though, we saw quite a lot of injuries around the league, especially among its star players. Maybe you lost Isaiah Pacheco, Cooper Cup, Debo Samuel, or one of the many other casualties around the league. But I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. This week, Dan will go over his top 10 surprises around the league. Then we will get into our week 2 player picks, where unfortunately I faltered a little bit. Dan did a little bit better, but not by much. I mean, he said Keon Coleman was a lock, and that guy put up a donut on Thursday night. But that's part of the game. We can't be perfect every week. We're going to touch on some underperformers, some breakout players, as well as some potential buy and sell trade targets. Like me, you may need to make up for some of the injuries that you had. Finally, we'll give you guys a look into our week 3 player picks. Dan's probably going to give you a pick like, oh, start Jordan Mason or start Trey McBride. No shit, Dan. That's not anything new. That's what you do. But I'm here to give you guys some picks on some fringe players, some players that you're like, oh, should I start them? Should I sit them? That's where you separate the casuals from the true degenerates. That's about all I got. So hope you guys enjoy the video. And as always, good luck in all of your fantasy endeavors, unless you're in one of our leagues, because then luck ain't going to save you. Peace.
Audio.
Three, two, one, action. Welcome back, everybody, to the DGen Fantasy Football Podcast. With me tonight is my co-host, Dylan, but Pirate Reigns.
Yes, sir.
JK, bro. JK. And I'm Dan Schmader. We are back for another week of predictions, reviewing last week, and talking about starts of the week and maybe some desperation plays, too. So let's get right into it. We're going to go over last week's surprises. I think we'll make this like a weekly thing. Last week's surprises, I don't think I was like as in shock as week 1, but there were a couple things that popped up that we should talk about.
Yeah.
So here we go. Surprise number 1. Raiders. Seemed surprising. They seemed really good. Defense and game management on the offensive side. Can we rely on fantasy pieces from the Raiders going forward? I think so.
Yeah. I think not the depth pieces, but mainly like Brock, Devontae, and then I still don't know about that running back room.
Yeah, I agree. How did they do on Sunday?
Not great. I mean, Madison got a touchdown, but he had like one carry for a TD, and then Zamir just unless he gets the touchdown, it's hard. So
yeah, not quite seeing the volume we wanted from Zamir White. But yeah, Brock, I think is one of the best receiving tight ends in the league right now. And Devontae looks like he could still get that volume. So I was getting a little worried about Devontae after week 1. Surprise number 2. Browns backfield. Deontay Foreman just won't die.
Yeah.
15 opportunities on a team that should be in most games going forward. What's going on with that? Is Ford kind of like taking a back seat? Is he healthy? Is he injured?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I think the only takeaway from this is that's like a committee now, at least until Chubb gets back, and Ford is no longer attractive to play in any circumstance. So
Agreed, dude. Those like later round RBs in the draft, like Ford, Chuba Hubbard, those guys like, and Javonte Williams. I thought those were such smart picks at the time.
Yeah. That's what it always is. You think that late round RB is going to be the staple.
Like he'll get the volume.
Yeah. So
surprise number 3. Jaguars and ETN. Are they going to check his reps? I know Tank got hurt.
Yeah.
But this was a surprise last week, and I just wanted to bring it up again. ETA is looking as attractive as he was.
Yeah.
But are they trying to check his reps going forward? Because Tank is not injured. He'll be playing week 3.
Yeah. Dearness Johnson actually got quite a few snaps, though, after Tank went down.
Yeah.
So I think it is a little bit similar story. It's just going to, whether it's Tank or Johnson, I think one of them at least is going to be getting some volume away from ETN. So
Dude, I've been a Dearness truther since he was on the
Yeah.
Browns. He filled in like one game and had
Yeah.
a super
Electric
good
finish. Yeah.
electric. Come on, Dearness. Uh, for more Tony Pollard stuff, he's not in a committee with Spears. We had this on here last week, but I would say it's a lot going forward.
Yeah, Spears did get an ankle injury. It seems like it's not serious. So Tony did see some more of the passing work in the game. So I think Pollard's the guy there for sure. I think Spears
Yeah.
could. I think this week will be a big tell. If Spears comes back and he plays majority of those passing downs, that's a little more iffy on Pollard. But if Pollard stays out there, he's kind of a lock.
He is, dude. And while we missed that tier of running backs, the Devontae, Jerome Ford tier, that tier before Montgomery, Tony Pollard,
Yeah,
Brian Robinson Jr.
yeah,
was looking pretty nice right now.
yeah, they are.
Number 5, Ty Chandler, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Not a surprise for some, but a surprise to other non-creatives. We like Ty Chandler going forward as possibly, even if Aaron Jones does not get injured, as possibly getting more reps.
Yeah, I think that's going to turn into a split soon. Maybe like a 60-40, 55-45, but he looks great out there. And I think
Yeah.
they got to kind of preserve Aaron Jones a little bit with his
Yeah, and the
injury
team
history.
itself is competing,
Yeah,
so they probably want to hold him. That's true. I don't think Chandler is in a flex consideration quite
no,
yet.
it
He's
does.
one injury away from being like a full
Yeah.
fab dump.
And it makes me a little bit more cautious on Aaron Jones as well, playing him. I'm not as happy with him as an RB2 now.
Yeah, the show. Number 6, probably my biggest surprise, Quentin Johnson, aka Huge, continues his slow ascent, but it's clear that he's having it, and this team requires his capabilities. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably like one of the top waiver wire pickups this week, if he was on there for you, which I wouldn't be jumping to start him though at all by any means. I mean, Herbert's still passing for less than 200 yards a game. Um, big run game offense. So, but I don't think he's a bad piece to keep on your bench.
Nice. Come
Yeah,
on, Ty. I mean, come on, Huge.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Huge is like a good dynasty play,
yeah.
but he has all the talents there, and Josh Palmer didn't like step up,
No,
and neither did Ladd yet. But I like Ladd.
yeah,
JSN coming out party is the 7th surprise. This was pretty surprising. Week 1, he didn't play good. People were already talking shit.
yeah,
And week 2, he came out with massive target share and
yeah.
did a lot with it. Good sign of things to come.
I think hopefully, I mean, the other big thing of note here was Lockett was healthy and he was on the field for the same amount of snaps as JSN. So it's not like Lockett got injured and missed time out there. They were both on the field almost every play. So maybe it's a little bit of the transition of Lockett
Well,
fading.
passing of the torch.
Yeah, Lockett finally fading into the sunset. But
That's
I,
gonna break my heart.
yeah. So, but I don't
I love you,
think,
T.
I mean, they had so much volume this past week. So I think
Yeah.
JSN had like 15 targets or something crazy. So
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the teens. I guess it comes down to like, what do you think about Geno? Geno last year didn't help anyone out.
yeah,
DK kind of like willed himself into relevancy.
yeah,
I like JSN, but I don't know. I'm not like super happy to start him as like a wide receiver too, but I
yeah,
would definitely throw him in my flex this week.
yeah. I think he's a good flex
Depending on-
guy for the matchup, but I think Gino's still going to have some decent games, but also some poor games as well. So, but I think he
Sure.
is sitting
I
at
agree.
like QB9 right now. So not a bad
Yeah.
start
He
for
throws
him.
a hell of a deep ball.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, it's delicious. Number 8, the Saints continue to impress on the ground, and they're very efficient in the passing game when a bunch of other teams are absolutely stinking it up
Yeah.
through the air. Is this smoke or fire? Is this a real change with the Kubiak offense? Are we buying into this? I'm buying into it.
I think we kind of have to now. I think week 1 was like you can chalk it up to the Panthers and a fluke, but like the Cowboys D is nothing to like scoff at. Like,
Golf now?
yeah, like Micah Parsons coming in hot down their throats. Their secondary is still very good. And I mean, Carr looked great. Like he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now through 2 weeks. So I kinda
He's
like
leading the
them.
league in passing touchdowns with
Yeah.
Sam
I mean,
Darnold.
Kamara had a nuclear game, scoring 44 points in PPR. So
I know.
it's crazy. But
Kamara is one of the greats. I mean,
yeah,
I'm super happy for him, but
yeah.
um, I didn't see this level of play coming, which I
No,
doubt
not
many
at
people
all.
did. But uh, all right, I'm playing Saints guys too. I'm playing Olave. I'm gonna start Derek Carr in super flex, and then Kamara. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know, you're just
You gotta play him.
yeah, electric. Number 9, Commanders and Giants run game. Zach Ertz leading receiver. I would say this is smoke against weak defenses,
Yeah.
like as in Devin Singletary. Everyone besides Brian Robinson. We'll
Yeah.
get to him later, though. I think today we have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about. B Rob.
Yeah. These like shitty matchups are so hard to take away things from. But Daniel Jones and Jaden Daniels being the QBs. Obviously, Jaden's great for fantasy, but in terms of like NFL purposes, I mean, he's got the
Yeah.
lowest average depth of target right now in the league. So it's just not great for the wide receivers there. But
All right, and the last one, which I just was excited to talk about, Cardinals offense looked amazing.
yep.
This is not necessarily a surprise, but would you say their fantasy pieces right now are gold?
Yeah, they're some of the most valuable players in the league right now, I think. The Trey McBride, Kyler, James Conner looks amazing. And then Marvin
Yeah,
Harrison breakout game right there. So love to
yeah,
see it after all the not allegations, but everyone freaking out, pulling their hair out after his week one.
yeah. Get lost. Yeah, honestly, that team has some great fantasy pieces in there.
Yeah.
Maybe the best tight end.
Yep.
Kyler looks fantastic. Yeah, the whole thing is James Conner just looks bigger and faster than he's ever looked. So
Yeah.
exciting stuff. But that is week 2, top 10 surprises. We'll see what week 3 brings us ahead.
Yep.
I have a feeling we're in for another week of the real surprises were just like injuries. But
Yeah.
anyways, let's go over our hits and misses last week.
Yeah. This is not a great showing by us, but that's okay. Um, For quarterbacks, I had a miss and a hit. I had Jaden Daniels, who totally flubbed. And then Gino was my desperate play, and he performed quite well. So 1 for 2 on the
Yeah,
QBs there.
that was nice. It's almost better to hit the desperation play
Yeah.
than the stud play. Jaden, I don't know. As someone who like doesn't own him in any leagues, I'm kind of happy to see that he just wasn't like a crazy late round QB dual threat
Yeah.
high score. Because that would be a huge advantage for the other teams that had him. My quarterbacks were Lamar Jackson, which I thought was an absolute lock,
Yeah.
but I forgot what it's like to have Lamar Jackson. I had him last year. He does this. Don't panic.
Yeah.
That's a miss. He didn't play bad, but he didn't hit his projection, and he certainly did not boom.
Yeah.
And then Sam Darnold was my desperation QB that hit.
Yeah.
Super surprisingly.
Yeah. I think if you remember at the end of the episode last week, I was like, he could be the worst play of the week at quarterback. But that was not the case against the Niners, who looked terrible.
Yeah, his boys showed out.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Naylor,
Jalen
Arby's.
Naylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a well-coached team.
yeah. And then I completely whiffed on my running backs. I had Joe Mixon, who had an ankle injury, put up nothing, like 6, 7 points. And then Najee was my flex pick. I was so certain that Najee was going to have a great game, but Jalen Warren looks like he's healthy, and they split the snaps pretty much evenly right down the middle. So
Yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah, I was rooting for Najee. That was a good matchup for him. And it really wasn't on him. He's just not getting the
yeah.
volume that it takes. And Mixon, yeah, I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah.
But I think week 1 was a little bit, that was like his ultimate ceiling.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, Mixon ankle injury sounds like it's not severe, so I wouldn't worry as much going forward. Also, like the blowout game was against the Colts, and the Colts seem to have the worst rushing defense in the league right now. So I think
Yeah.
they've let up
Well,
like
let's hope.
400 yards plus on the season already.
The Colts have?
Yeah.
That's wonderful news.
Yeah.
I have a choice to make.
The
I
Packers.
also picked Najee,
Yeah.
um, as my flex play. I love that matchup,
Yeah.
but next week. And then James Conner, love the matchup, and he's having a great year so far. I like him going forward. Obviously, like, injury risk is still in the back of my mind, but I think you just gotta trust at this point that this 29-year-old ageless running back is gonna keep it going.
Yeah. He beat cancer. He can beat age.
That's right. Easy.
All right. And then my wide receiver pick of the week was Debo. I mean, he played pretty well. Not as good as week one, but he still put up 18 points. And then I picked Lad, who just is a complete nothing burger. It seems like
Yeah, let's talk about the Chargers receivers. If those guys don't score, if Ladd doesn't score a touchdown, if Palmer doesn't score a touchdown,
yeah.
they're kind of like not startable.
Yeah. So I would just stray away from starting any Chargers wide receiver right now, unless you're in like a very deep league, like start 5 wide receivers. But even then, I'd
Yeah,
be
like in a
questioning.
dynasty.
Yeah. So, and like I wouldn't,
Debo's so good.
yeah,
It's
Debo's,
it's such a shame that he's like missing what, 4 weeks,
yeah, he's not
2 weeks.
on IR, but he's probably 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a dagger for sure.
That is a dagger. You know what else is a dagger? Is my wide
Oh,
receiver stud was Cooper Kupp,
yeah.
which was a miss. He got 7 points before he went down, and he's not on IR yet. I think he has a high ankle sprain, and they're like waiting to see what
Yeah.
happens, I guess. But I have a feeling he's going on IR because
Yeah.
hasn't he had ankle injuries in the past?
Yeah. I mean, it's all been like ankle, knee, calf kind of thing. So he should probably go on IR this early in the year, but reports are he's trying to like play through it and be back maybe next week, not this week. So that's just, it's a long season and it's still so early. It's
Yeah,
dangerous.
dude, high ankle injuries are like they fuck fantasy owners.
Yeah.
When it comes to a running back or receiver, quarterback, maybe you get away with it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Cup's trying to make it back for all of us
Yeah.
that have Cup. Thank you, Cooper.
Yeah. And then you can't forget about your absolute donut of Keon Coleman. That
Oh,
bad.
I was just gonna try to just pass right by that. That was a
Yeah.
Thursday night game too,
Yeah.
and I think we filmed this episode on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and the very next night, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Honestly, I just wouldn't start any Bills receivers. I guess you have to start Dalton Kincaid,
Yeah.
but I really wouldn't start any Bills. I mean, you're not starting Shakir, but
Yeah.
I guess if you're desperate, you'll start Shakir.
Yeah. I mean, that offense runs through James Cook, so and Josh, but Josh more in a rushing fashion than passing. So it, it's
Yeah,
hard to start any of
should
them.
know.
And
Keon's
then,
week one performance got me hyped,
yeah, it
and I
did.
just made the mistake.
Yeah.
Won't do it again.
So we'll see if one of us picks a Bills receiver later on for next week, though. Uh, and then tight end games. I mean, we both picked some studs here. I picked Brock Bowers. I think he had a good week one, and then a monster week this week 9 catches, 98 or 96 yards, 9 targets. Just
Boom.
boom. That's all you got to have. I mean, he's got 25% target share through 2 games. Minshew's great connection with him. I mean, Minshew's kind of balling out already. It's kind of fun to see. So I think going
That's
for,
what we wanted when Gardner went there. Yeah, dude, Bowers. And the most importantly, he just like looks
yeah.
so legit.
Yeah, he passes all the eye tests. So,
Yeah.
and then my dart throw was Chig Okonkwo from the Titans. Pretty much nothing. He had 3 catches for 15 yards. So his projection wasn't that
Oh.
high, but he didn't hit it. So desperate plays, not always working out.
He didn't get you a goose though. My stud was Trey McBride, who he played really well. He also got lucky with a little touchdown that he recovered or fumble that he recovered in the end zone.
Yeah.
And then Zach Ertz was my desperate play, which he led the team in receiving. So that's a
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
but I would I would be careful about how often you start Ertz. But honestly, right now I kind of like him with the rookie Jaden Daniels there.
Yeah, so not a smashing hit, but he's holding off Ben Sinnott for now. So I think you went around 50%. I went 3 for 8 on my picks. So not our best weeks, but
Not our best week, but also not like 1-8, which is good.
yeah. So yeah. And then moving forward, I'm gonna be picking a little bit more frisky players instead of like Debo and guys like that.
For your
So
studs?
yeah, for my
Yeah, it's
studs.
like more middle tier guys that are gonna boom that week. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we'll see. And then in week
I've been in a
two,
couple underperformers. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of underperformers. So I think my two key underperformers, this is mainly based on like where they were drafted, are Garrett Wilson and Sam Laporta. Um,
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson's had 10 and 11 points so far in his 2 games. It's just for being a back of the first round, early second round pick is not what you want. Yeah, it kind of looks the same as last year so far for him.
Yeah, I mean, I picked guys, same exact theme, second rounders. I mean, Laporta was not he was what, a third rounder?
Yeah,
And there were some like bombs laying in the second round that some of us got caught up in. Chris Olave and Kyron Williams.
yeah,
Olave and Kyron both were serviceable this week.
yeah,
Olave was like more tangible because he actually caught 4 passes for 80 balls. And I am not too worried about him. He's got a good matchup coming up.
yeah,
Kyron just keeps scoring touchdowns, but it has like awful efficiency.
yeah.
2.5 yards to carry. Their line is completely destroyed.
Their entire team is. They have so many
Yeah, right.
injuries
They don't have a
already.
passing.
Yeah,
I'd be very concerned about Kyron going forward.
yeah,
Like very concerned. So, but Olave, I think you got to hold, and
yeah,
then Kyron, I don't know, but I mean, you got to start Kyron obviously, but I
yeah,
wouldn't count on him putting
yeah. You got to lower your
20.
expectations.
Yeah,
So
looking for 12 points now, Kyron.
yeah,
All right, let's get into some breakouts.
yeah. We had quite a few breakouts this week that were exciting to see. Some fantasy relevant, some not so much. I think my first pick was Braylon Allen. Um,
Nice.
he had a great week. He scored a touchdown, had 19 points. I think if anything, this just shows like if Brees goes down, Braylon's like probably the best handcuff to have in the league. Um, so he's not a bad bench stash if you have spots. I imagine some Brees owners have him, but not all of them. So
I picked him up for that reason. He's like an elite handcuff,
yeah,
and if he's going to get 9 touches a game,
yeah,
yeah, that's not bad. That's a
yeah,
handcuff with upside.
yeah. They were bringing in playing him split out in the slot a little bit. So we'll see. Like maybe he will get some time in there. So um,
That'd be sick.
I wouldn't start him, but it's still great to have on your team. And then my next pick was JSN. This is probably the best game of his career so far. This is kind of what everyone was expecting when he was drafted by the Seahawks 2 drafts ago. So it's nice to see finally come to fruition.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope this is a sign of things to come for him. Honestly,
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him, and I think Gino is a perfectly fine quarterback to get him 110, 120 targets.
yeah,
My breakouts were Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah,
Absolutely amazing game. I would like to point out he only had 4 receptions,
yeah,
so I'm hoping we can start seeing him in a more expanded role where he's
yeah,
getting like 6, 8 catches.
yeah,
'Cause obviously, he's not gonna catch 2 bombs every week.
yeah,
Um, but the offense already showed a lot of improvement, so I'm I'm starting him like fully expecting awesome output every week.
yeah. I think all of his catches were in the first quarter as well. So
Ouch. Okay, I didn't know that.
that's a little bit worrying, but I mean, he
Yeah,
still got the
yeah.
points. So
I know, but that does kind of say something. Like,
yeah,
is he only going to catch bombs?
yeah,
And if so, that's that's not that great.
yeah,
Unless he's like your flex receiver, but with all the injuries, I doubt that.
yeah.
My other week 2 breakout was QJ. We already kind of talked about him. He caught 2 touchdowns. But would you say he's not a flex guy yet, is he?
No, not yet, but it could be soon. I think if he had another week that looked good, I think he has like a chance to establish himself as the top receiver there. So
Yeah.
if that happens, I'd love to be able to flex him. But until that happens, I'm kind of holding a little back on him.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was a good waiver wire pickup for sure.
Yeah.
UJ. Yeah, that he kind of like makes sense in that offense, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like we said before, surprises were injuries. You want to get us just run us through the injuries that we are dealing with right now
Yeah.
because it's
It's
brutal.
it's pretty bad. So obviously some of these happened this past week, some are previous injuries. So we got CMC, Pacheco, AJ Brown, Cooper Cup, Tua, Jordan Love's still probably out, mixing with his ankle. He might be okay. And then Debo's gonna miss some time as well. So
Oh
those are
man.
those are some of the big names. CMC's on the IR. Same with Pacheco. He had surgery. He's probably going to miss at least 8 weeks. Something's coming out, or it could be longer. AJ Brown short term, Cup maybe short term, but Tua we don't really know yet. But
Yeah.
they just, especially the quarterbacks, they affect everybody on that offense there. So I think for the
Yeah.
time being, like Packers wide receivers are dead.
Yep.
Um,
Can't start Jaden Reed. That's
yeah,
for sure.
and then like Dolphins wide receivers, you got to scale back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
probably not going to start Waddle this week if I can help it.
yeah. So
But Brian Thomas Jr. over him.
yeah, not a lot of faith in Skylar Thompson down there. So
Or Snoop Huntley.
no,
Pro Bowl. Sorry. Pro Bowl. Tyler Huntley. All right. Trade talks. Let's get into some discussion around potential guys we want to trade or a sell off following week 2, which just saying that out loud doesn't really make sense. It's only been 2 weeks.
yeah,
But just for an exercise, because I have a couple guys who I'm like really like, oh, I don't feel good about him.
yep.
Despite it only being a 2-game sample size. So who do you got?
Yeah. So we talked about this guy a little bit so far. I think we're both in agreement on him. And the window's probably closing, if not already closed in some leagues. But if you can still get Brian Robinson, um, I think he's like a lock to be a running back one this season. I mean, with Jaden, the inexperience, it's nice to have a running back to lean on. So he's had 2 good games. So, but he wasn't worth a lot of draft capital coming into the season. So someone might be more likely to move off of him versus someone he drafted much earlier, like ETN, who hasn't performed as well. So,
Yeah, I love him in the Kingsbury offense.
yep.
Like he's in that like big back. He's going to score touchdowns, get a lot of touches. Pretty awesome.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
And then another one of my
Uh,
picks this week is Tank Dell. Um, Tank hasn't shown a lot this season, but I think that means you could probably buy him right now. And CJ Stroud hasn't been playing great so far. He hasn't touched 300 yards yet this year. He led the league last year in 300-yard games. So I think Tank's time will come this year. It just hasn't happened yet. So I think you can get him for like not, you don't have to give up any starters for him right now. So he might be a good piece to get up and acquire.
yeah, who would you think about trading him for? Like, would you trade Jaden Reed?
Yeah. I, that's tough. I think, yeah, I'd probably trade Jaden Reed away for him, especially with this whole Jordan Love thing. I think they're both kind of
Yeah,
similar boom bust, like small explosive guys. Um, and we don't really know the extent of Jordan Love's injury down the road. Like he might be back week 4, week 5, but we don't know how he's going to look. So, but
yeah. Would you trade him for Brian Thomas Jr.?
oh no, I wouldn't trade BTJ. I think he has potential to be the number 1 receiver in that offense. So
Yeah, just give it a few more weeks.
yeah, but if you got some bench guys like Jordan Addison or maybe Keon Coleman, I could see trading one of them away. Just Tank's definitely like a stash on your roster kind of guy and see like how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, and try to catch him when he's hot.
Yeah.
My buy, I just wanted to double down on your pick, Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Like, we had these discussions in the preseason, and for whatever reason in the draft, I just didn't like prioritize him. I think there was like some Eckler noise
Yeah.
coming out of camp.
There some reason. But
Um, even though we knew that like a Kingsbury offense doesn't utilize like passing running backs that much. So I'm all about B Rob. He looks great. Another one of my buy lows is Chris Olave. A
yeah.
little bit more risky, because we have seen some Shaheed which we'll get into in a sec. But I think Olave is just going to be a little bit more sustainable, and
Yep.
it's a positive to see this offense and Derek Carr playing so well within it.
Yeah, I agree. I would try and target him, especially at this point in the year. If someone's 0-2 and they have Olave, they might be panicking.
Yep.
And so,
Do something stupid.
yeah, very stupid.
It's real stupid.
So I think something stupid you could do right now is hold on to Ramondre Stevenson and expect him to keep producing at the level he is. I think the Pats, I mean, they almost won again, but Stevenson is just, can't trust that offense. Jacoby just looks so rushed out there, just doesn't look good, not a cohesive team. So I think his points are going to drop back a little bit here. So I think you could move him right now to a team that's running back desperate, maybe pivot to a wide receiver with him, or it just kind of depends on your league, who you can trade with. But I would try and move off of him.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that. The offense is just like bad offenses are gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna impact him at some point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be useless, but I don't think he's going to perform at the level he has been. So,
yeah,
and then this one, he's probably a little bit harder to move is Najee, but I think some people still really like Najee, but the snap share this week totally put me off of Najee going forward. So him and Jalen both 31 snaps. So
can't trust Hardy.
yeah, if you
Yeah, you
can
can't
get
trust Hardy Smith.
if you can get out of them from under him right now, I still would, but I wouldn't expect
Yes.
much back
Yeah.
in return.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. He was hard to trade even when
Yeah.
preseason when there was better feelings around him.
Yep.
So it might be real hard now. But maybe you could get I don't even know. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Would you trade him for Quentin Johnson?
Najee. Ugh.
Yeah.
It really depends on like the makeup of your team, right?
Yeah.
If
If you have running back.
if I have running backs and I don't necessarily have to start Najee, I can see trading him for a piece like that. But because Najee wasn't going super early, so he might be a bench player for you.
Yeah, and running backs might become valuable down the road. Yeah, you're right. It really just depends.
Yep.
These are my two sell candidates, and this first one's pretty controversial because I love what he's doing. But J.K. Dobbins,
Yeah.
and that's solely because I don't think Gus is going away. Which you could say like, well, he's been in the last two games and it hasn't mattered, which is true. And that's why I'm a little bit hesitant.
Yep.
But I also don't see J.K. like running for 9 yards a carry, you know. And so if that comes back down to earth, even if he still runs for 5 yards a carry, which would be excellent.
Yeah.
He'd have half his points.
Yeah.
That being said, the offense is like perfect for him.
It is.
Clearly healthy, great player. They run the piss out of the ball.
Yeah.
You might be able to get something pretty sweet for JK from a RB poor team.
Yeah. I think if you can get someone to overpay for JK, it's worth it. I don't mind sitting on him because you probably invested almost nothing in him, right? You either got him off waivers or like a late round dart throw.
I think he was like 12th or 13th round.
Yeah. So I think if some RB needy team, you pair J.K. Dobbins with a wide receiver, you could probably tier up to a pretty nice wide receiver. That could help. So
yeah,
I don't mind selling.
My other
him,
sell candidate is Rashid Shaheed, who we talked a little bit about. He's like a classic sell high guy where he scored a lot of points and they've all come from like bombs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's going to happen consistently in the Saints offense now. We don't really know, but historically it just doesn't happen with other receivers. Granted, he is a very prolific deep threat pass catcher. So I don't know, but he feels like a good guy. Maybe you could tier up and get a better running back.
Yeah.
You could put, J.K. Dobbins and Rashid Shaheed together and get something probably pretty good.
Yeah. I only like Shaheed if you're in like a deeper start 9 format kind of thing. So if you're in like a standard ESPN or Yahoo league where you have 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, like I do not like playing Shaheed just because he's so risky. He's kind of like the Gabe Davis mold of like he might just go nuclear, but the next
Yeah.
week he might not. So he's strung together 2 games, but I don't see him doing this that frequently. So
Yeah. Yep. And that's what it's all about. All right. Week 2 is in the past, whether you won or lost, it no longer matters.
Mhm.
Let's get into week 3. And things are only getting harder from here because we have injuries we're dealing with, offensives that are not taking the next step. But let's get into it a little bit. My week 3 quarterback stud of the week is Derek Carr versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Stud
Now,
Derek
this is
Carr.
stud. I did not expect to be saying that 3 weeks ago. But Derek Carr is playing really well, and the Eagles' pass defense is trash. It's a perfect matchup.
Yeah.
He's got Olave. He's got Shaheed. Kamara is going nuclear. Like, he always has his bailout. So I like Carr this week to go for another 22 points.
Yep.
And my desperation, I'm going to go back. He had a rough week, but I'm going to go back. Jared Goff against the Cardinals. Again, it's a matchup thing. And he's got all the weapons he needs.
Yep.
Amon-Ra, Jameson, Laporta, Gibbs, Monty, it's all there. I think Gibbs just had a bad week, but quarterbacks are slow to get going. So let me put Jared in there
Yeah.
versus the Arizona.
Dude, it feels so wrong calling Derek Carr a stud, but I mean, he's been a
I'm
stud.
here for it.
He's been a stud these 2 weeks. You can't dispute
Yeah.
that. So I like both those plays there. We'll see. I mean, Goff had a rough week, I think, last year. He threw the ball 55 times and didn't get you a whole lot. So I just can't imagine that happens again if he throws it that many times. So
I just feel like it will be a better game script for them.
yeah.
And it'd be like they'll be running more effectively. He'll be passing more effectively. Hopefully, he gets Laporta involved.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. My QB pick of the week is Dak Prescott going against the Ravens. The Ravens' pass D's been pretty bad so far. They're in like the top 3 most yards allowed per game. That's about all you got to say for it. I mean, Dak's a great passer. He's got CeeDee Lamb. Some young guys maybe looking a little bit good out there with like Jalen Brooks. And Ferguson may be back as well. So we'll kind of see this week, but I love starting Dak this week against the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be worried about Dak.
Yeah.
Last year, they didn't figure it out until week 7, and then he finished as like the QB 5, maybe, something like that.
I think it was,
so.
Yeah.
I think he's fine, and they need Ferguson back. Their running backs need to play a little bit better, but they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
they'll figure it out. Dak is a very excellent quarterback.
Yeah. My desperation play, which I imagine almost no one is going to be playing this week, is Caleb Williams versus the Colts. So
it's a good matchup.
It is a good matchup versus the Colts. My thought process behind this is I like Caleb. I think Caleb will be decent in the league. And the Colts have not performed well so far, especially against the rushing attack. And we all know Caleb can run the ball. And I think if he starts running a little bit against their team, it's really going to open up the passing game and give him a lot more options across the field, especially just running around, extending plays, finding Keenan Allen if he plays, kind of thing. So it's definitely a risky play. Like maybe if it's 2 QB or super flex formats, like I'm not starting him over any of the top 10 guys, but I think this could be a little surprise week with everyone to get back in the Caleb Williams boat.
I hope so. I feel the same way about him. Before the season, I thought he's going to be a really good NFL quarterback. That hasn't changed, but you can tell that he has talent. Like he is running around out there. He like looks the part, looks like he belongs, and he just was making like really boneheaded passes and just floating it out there.
Yeah.
But I think that's entirely correctable. It's just a matter of like how long is that going to take?
Yeah.
And if he coachable enough to get there? Which I haven't heard anything that would say otherwise.
Yeah, I think this could be a big mistake-prone game as well on both sides of the ball. So usually those sloppy games lead to some decent plays coming through. So
Yeah.
maybe
Play
you could.
stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean,
what
all
to
it
say.
takes is one deep ball to DJ Moore to get him up there. So
Yeah, and hopefully Keenan plays too.
yep,
RB stud of the week for me. I'm just gonna triple down Jordan Mason versus the Rams.
yep,
Again, it's a matchup thing. Mason looks legit. Debo is no longer there. I couldn't even tell you who the third string or now the second string running back is for the Niners. I guess it's Garendo.
yeah,
Um, but Mason just like looks good, and obviously if you have like a guy who's a decent running back in that offense, they're gonna do well. You have a guy who's big and can move a little bit, and he could just get you another 100-yard plus game.
yep,
He could be shaping up to be like this year's kind of like out of nowhere Kyron Williams.
yeah.
And then my RB flex for the week, I'm just gonna run it with David Montgomery. I've loved what I've seen from him. That tier of running backs just so far is hit, and he's playing in a good matchup too. So I'm going Jared Goff and I'm going David Montgomery.
These are so.
My guys.
These are the fucking weakest picks ever. These are so easy. Let me just pick Jordan Mason against the fucking Rams, and then Monty, who's
I guess Monty is probably an RB2, isn't he? Like
he's
in everybody's
averaging
team.
like 16 points a game right now.
Yeah, but like most teams probably draft him and be like their second RB.
Yeah, so I mean, he's
Yeah,
doing well
he's
so
not even.
far, but yeah, I would expect both of these guys to do well this week. Um,
Okay. I
yeah,
should have a good percentage next week. We'll
yeah,
see.
we'll see. You got to get it up.
Oh my god! Now I'm looking at yours like holy.
Yeah. So we went. So my first RB pick of the week, Brian Robinson playing the Bengals. We touched on him already. The Bengals look like shit, so I think
Yep.
B Rob continues to be a staple on that offense against the Bengals. And then my next play is going against a defense that let up 186 rushing yards last week. The Atlanta Falcons
Damn.
is,
And the Eagles did that to them?
yeah. So 186
Damn.
yards. This week, we're going with a little 1-2 punch, maybe. Kareem Hunt visited the Chiefs. No news on him signing yet, but if he plays, I'm playing him. And if not, it's Carson Steele being the early down back. So I think one of these guys is about to have a good game. So this is definitely a long shot, but I'm in on it. I think it would be so perfect for Kareem Hunt to come back and just blow up for 100 yards against the Falcons, who look terrible.
God, that would really be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He was on the Chiefs in what, like 2018,
Yeah.
2019? I'd be like turning the clock back
Yeah.
5 years. Wow. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
For those of you who weren't watching or too young to remember Kareem Hunt on the Chiefs, he was fucking awesome. And then what? He like beat someone up in a hotel room or something.
Yeah. I kicked someone that was a female in the face.
Oh,
With the running
okay.
start, but
Nice. Okay, but we're rooting for him.
yeah, that's my pick of the week. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chiefs rushing games looked really good so far. Pacheco's out, so we'll see. Obviously, these guys probably aren't going to get the passing down touches with P Ryan there, but who knows? One of them could definitely
Yeah, you
emerge.
never know. Full rushing
Yeah.
touchdowns. All right, my wide receiver stud for the week is Chris Olave versus the Eagles. Again, Eagles secondary sucks. Olave, I think, does have the talent, and now it's time to put it all together. And then my flex is going to be Calvin Ridley against Green Bay, which honestly, I don't really know how I feel about that because I do like the Packers defense a lot. And Ridley, his points last week were a little inflated because I believe he scored a rushing touchdown.
Yep.
So he got up there through kind of minimal carry. So I wouldn't expect that every week. But I was high on Ridley in the beginning of the year. I think I had a hot take where he'd be like top 15 receiver or something like that. So, which I don't think, that's really obtainable. But
Yeah.
for a flex play, go for it. He's their guy there.
Yeah. I could see Levis doing a little bit better. I mean, they don't really have a choice, so he's just got to figure it out. Ridley's the guy
Yep.
there, especially with D Hop not looking like anything. So we'll see.
I think we're going to be seeing D Hop's a lot. He'll probably end up on some team next year.
Yeah,
That's like chasing a ring.
yeah, something like that.
But
So
those days were done.
my wide receiver stud of the week, he has 5 catches on the season so far, is Amari Cooper. So despite only having 5
Who do they play? Giants?
they're playing the Giants this week. And
Oh,
Amari does have 17 targets on the year. So it's not like he only
that's
has
fantastic.
7 or 8 targets in the year. 17 targets, 2 games. So I think that continues. And he did drop like a touchdown earlier in week 1. I think he kind of turns it around here. And we see like maybe a 6 or 7 catch game for 80 plus yards and a touchdown against this terrible Giants defense. So
Yeah. Dude, people are so split on Cooper.
yeah,
You either like really like him and you think he's great, or you've had him in leagues the last 3 years and you're like, he might end up with good stats, but like, he'd only help your team 1 out of 4 weeks. And so I kind of think we're seeing the same thing here. But I like that take. The matchup's great, and Deshaun Watson did look a little better last
yeah,
week.
he had a couple good plays, which he did not week 1. So
Yeah,
we just have to
I like it.
hope he progresses a little bit. And then my flex play is a Buffalo Bills wide receiver, Khalil Shakir, taking on the Jags.
I
Jags,
love that you're a Shakir guy now.
yeah,
Love it.
big Shakir guy, big switch from the offseason. He hasn't done anything crazy yet, but both games so far in PPR, he's had around 10 points, 4 catches, around 50 yards every game. So nothing like crazy, but I think he's kind of just like quietly being like a reliable guy for Josh in the passing game. So I don't think he's going to go crazy, but I mean, he got a touchdown week 1. Who knows? He could get spring for a touchdown
Yeah.
again. Um,
Yeah. Plus, it sounds like his floor is like relatively safe because he'll get you 4 catches,
yeah,
50 to 70 yards. Yeah, I like that. He is like a classic QB's Mr. Reliable.
yeah,
Which is awesome to see. So, and those guys sometimes they have spike years. So we'll see where Shakir goes. I like that. Tight ends. This one is a risk. You got to give me this. Dalton Kincaid is my tight end stud of the week, which
uh-oh,
this guy does not deserve this at all, at all.
no,
But I like the matchup, and at some point they're gonna have to involve him.
yeah,
But how could everyone be so wrong
yeah,
about Dalton?
yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's got to be the guy this year, but he hasn't been. So it's hard because like if you have him on your team, you probably spent significant draft capital for a tight end on him, and you probably
Yeah, fifth
don't.
or sixth round, something like that.
Yeah, so you're kind of just stuck riding him, I think, which could be bad or good. We'll see. So, I mean, the Jags don't look great, so I kind of like it for him, but he's
Yeah,
come.
that's why I picked it because and like we just haven't seen it yet. And last season we did see it every once in a while. I don't
Yeah,
know. He's just not exciting. Like even last year, the reason I wasn't like huge on him is like Trey McBride. You'd see him catch passes, and he was great after the catch. Super athletic, big, aggressive as fuck. Same thing like Ferguson. Love the way he ran after he caught the ball. But Kincaid, it was like his route tree was pretty small and pretty
yeah,
short, and then he would just get tackled right away, and you're like,
yeah,
okay. So we're just saying this because there's all these targets that were vacated. But
yeah,
that being said, I'm gonna throw him out there again this week.
yeah. You can't pick Trey McBride 3 weeks in a row.
I know, I know. But Trey McBride's gonna dominate this week.
Yeah,
Just saying. And then my desperation tight end pick is Mike Gesicki.
it's disgusting.
It is disgusting, but hey, it's desperation,
Yeah,
and he's out of those guys, like, I don't know. I
yeah,
feel like he I feel like he can also get you 10 points.
yeah. It might sneak a touchdown, especially it depends if T Higgins plays or not. So it looks like he
I
may.
wanted to do John, but
Yeah,
I'm going quarterback issue. I'm going to Gesicki.
yeah. So we'll see. I mean, at that point in the range of tight ends outside the elite guys is like you're just praying for a touchdown. So you
Yeah,
got one last week.
for
We'll
goose
see.
sake.
Um, yeah. And then My tight end of the week, I think first guy, tight end number 1 this week is George Kittle. A lot of injuries on that team. Kittle's like old reliable there. Not much else to say about him. He did pop up in the injury report today, so we'll see, but I'm not too worried for him. He's kind of a freak when it comes to injuries in terms of playing through small things. So I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything else. It's just tight end one this week. And then my flex play is Dalton Schultz versus the Vikings, who's also been having some small injury things, but I think this Texans offense is just going to get better and better every week. Even though the Vikings have looked good, I think CJ is just going to get a little bit more comfortable, and that leads to people other than Nico Collins getting the ball as well. So,
We don't want to see that.
yeah, I mean, I want
But
Nico to get all the points,
exactly. We don't want to see that, Nico.
but there's
Stay in there,
definitely
buddy.
there's room for growth though. I mean, CJ's only throwing like 260 yards, so he throws for 330. That's a lot of points on the board still. So,
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. And Schultz got involved last year. I like it. Despite Diggs being here this year,
yeah,
I still think there's a purpose for him on the offense. Okay, so that's the predictions.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope for more than 500 this week. I mean, I picked some softies, so we'll see.
yeah,
And I have a feeling I'm going to hit on Gesicki too.
yeah.
Really quick before we say goodbye, week 3 fades. I just picked a few names that I think a couple are like obvious, and one is, and a couple are like, oh shit. Kyle Pitts, tight end. I'm fading him. I haven't liked what I've seen. Obviously, you're probably gonna have to start him. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it. I do think there's hope for like all of those receivers on Atlanta, including Mooney though, because Kirk could get more comfortable week after week.
Yep.
Which let's hope. But so far, they just haven't really been utilizing him in anything down the field, which is not good. Mike Evans is my other fade. He's playing against Denver. Is Surtain healthy right now?
Yeah, I believe so. I think he's still good.
He is.
I
I
mean,
wasn't sure if I heard that he was injured.
yeah, I imagine that's why you picked him solely, just because the matchup.
Yeah, because I just think he's going to get fucking jammed up.
Yeah,
And I like Godwin. I
yeah,
think Evans will still catch his touchdown, so like obviously he'll still be a fantasy, like important fantasy piece to have. But yeah, I
yeah,
really like Godwin a lot.
yeah,
And if Evans isn't catching touchdowns every week, I don't know.
yeah,
But Godwin's been a surprise.
yeah. He has been. So, I mean, it's just them two as the whole receiving offense there. I think last week Baker had 19 attempts and 15 or 16 targets were those two. So,
Yeah. And then normally he'd have a little bit more and then go to Rashad.
yeah,
And then McMillan's getting a little piece too. But yeah. And then Ramondre against the Jets. We already went on Ramondre as a sell. And this is, they're going to start playing better defenses. And I don't think you can keep that up.
yeah,
And then my last guy is AR-15.
yeah.
I'm going to fade this week. This does not mean I don't think he's going to have a good year. But this week I'm not playing, or I'm not happy to be playing him.
Yeah,
But
against the Colts. Or not, I mean, against the Bears this week. So,
yeah, I like the Bears D.
yeah, they're kind of sneaky good back there. So, yeah,
They've
like,
been keeping that team in games like they do not deserve to.
yeah, they do not deserve that at all. So,
Alrighty.
yep.
That's the DGen Fantasy Football Podcast for week of September 15th. We're going into week 3 next week. We'll drop an episode we'll probably film about halfway next week and then go over week 3, talk week 4. Good luck in your fantasy leagues, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.